Show. That's okay.
Huh?
I just hit the outside and everything switched.
No, come here real quick. So you know how to do this. Go to lights. There's DUM Show. You hit the play button again. Don't hit the lid. Don't hit the play button.
Got it. I thought I hit.
Yeah, it's okay. No big deal. Totally happens. I've done it. Test 1 2 3. What's going on, everybody? Sorry about the delay. A little bit of preparation to do, and we got it caught up. So we are not going to have a pre-show. We're going to go right into it. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes as we do through the pre-show stuff, and then we've got a big show, so we're going right into it. This has a lot to do with Russia, has a lot to do with ships off the coast. It happens to be something I know quite a bit about. We're going to talk about it together. I'll be back in about 3 minutes. Oh, if you could do me a favor, please like, share, and subscribe. Do all that type of stuff. And remember, we now have PayPal donate. So all you got to do is go to linktapgo.com/the DUM Show. And if you do that, you can immediately donate, which we would appreciate. It helps keep the show and the lights on. Here we go. What's going on, everybody? DUMClub.com. You can head on over there. We have monthly meetings where we all get together and kind of have a conversation. You get absolutely no ads on your news. You get 20%, 15, 10% off the DUM store. You get meet and greets, birthday messages, nude pictures of Liv, whatever you want. Just go on over to the DUMClub.com. We give 5% back to veterans. Take a look. We have a package for everybody. Plus, it keeps the show's lights on, which is important. The DUMClub.com. Monday the 16th, 6 o'clock, Charlie Kirk is going to be on Wimkin. We are opening in that show. We'll be with Jason, and then Charlie Kirk will be on with Jason Shepard. So we are honored to be invited, and we're really excited. So stop on by. It's only going to be on Wimkin, at least for that segment. Then we'll have a recording of it and give it a show to you.
Hi, Matthew. It's Judge Janine, and I wanted to congratulate you on the Don't Unfriend Me show at the DUM Show. I was thinking about that whole thing the other day when I thought it was right after Donald Trump was elected that everybody on the left started unfriending anyone on the right. So I'm glad you're calling them out. You've got a great name for the show, and I hope that you're true to the values, conservative values, Republican values, and that you call those people out. I think it's great. And I know you've got 135,000 followers. I hope you get a lot more. And just keep the faith. Keep fighting. I think we may get America back. But in the meantime, we've got a steep hill to climb. And you're one of the fighters, one of the patriots. So thank you for what you're doing.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
What's going on? Liv is in the house. Liv, hey.
Hello.
What's going on?
Oh, not much. Just got a little bit too much sun today.
Did you get a little lippy and I had to, tell you twice? And
yeah.
That's why you don't want to show your face?
Yeah, no. I forgot to wear sunblock at Hayden's 8th grade carnival, and I kind of fried. So I look like a tomato. I don't want to be on camera.
Well, she is here, obviously talking in chat and everything else, and you guys can ask questions. And I told her to go play Diablo, and she said, no, I'm going to go and run chat. And, amazing. Charlie Kirk, everybody, a lot of people know him. He had 120 million downloads. I don't need to give him any props. He's going to be on Wimkin, and we're going to be opening the show or closing the show. I don't know which one, but it doesn't really matter. We're pretty excited about it. Todd says, are you done with FAI? I don't know what FAI is. It might start early tonight. FAI. Let's see. FAI is a talent mobility civilian defense agency contracting workers, maximizing flexibility and hiring qualified contracting workers. Oh yeah, they didn't call it FAI when I was in. We didn't have fancy websites when we did contracting work. We were knocked and tapped. So we would get out, and when we were processing and about 3 months out from SEP, we would get contacted by the alphabet agencies who were interested. And of course, we would apply to the agencies, but ultimately we would get knocked and tapped. So FAI, haven't worked with it. So if that's what you're talking about. So I would assume, Todd, that is what you're talking about. They very well could have had a form of FAI when I was in, but certainly didn't utilize it. I was in Japan, and I had a little bit of a different separation from the military than most people. As I had a fairly bad accident, and I out-processed medically. So there was going to be a lot of recovery, and I had enrolled in school while I was overseas. And then I was knocked for that. So, and then I went and worked and did contracting work for little less than 2 years while I was in school too at the same time. So it was an interesting thing. So I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. Maybe you're not. You can call in, or you can text and say, yep, that's what I'm talking about. Noxzema, Olivia, is what everyone says.
Noxzema. That's face wash. I used it when I was a teenager.
Yeah, there was that girl. What was her? Felicity? Was that her name? She was the Noxzema commercial chick.
Yeah, I never watched it, but yeah.
So Todd, to answer your question, you didn't ask if I was, employed as a contractor. Am I done? Yes. And I've been done for, dude, I thank you for making me seem young. 20 years. Yeah, 20 years. So out of the military for 25, almost 26. 26, right, Liv? 25. 26.
26 in May.
26, so 21 years out of contracting work. Yeah. So anyway, if you have a question, go ahead and please do that. Current update, what's going on? June goal is we're about a third way there, and that's not too bad for being the 12th. We're about 960.82. If you have the ability and you can donate to the show, we appreciate it. It absolutely costs you nothing to be a part of the show, and we never want to make you feel like you have to pay anything. You don't. You can like the show and follow and talk about it with friends. We appreciate that, but obviously we have we have bills to pay. This isn't free. You've got to pay for bandwidth. You've got to pay for storage space. You got to pay for distribution. You got to pay for graphic design, and all those things take time and creation and news articles and research and all that stuff. So this is a full-time job. So this is how we do it. It's funded by you. We appreciate it. Take care of your loved ones first. Take care of your friends, family, birthdays, that vacation you're saving up for. But if all those things are check mark and the box is good, please, whatever you can do, we appreciate it. linktapgo.com/the Show. Hopefully you guys can see that. If you can't, right over here, let me know and we'll fix the graphic. We're going to be talking about Russia. And
Russia.
Todd, listen, this monosyllabic relationship that we're having is not going to work. You're going to have to be more descriptive. I appreciate it if, you're cool with talking in singular vocabulary of FAI and Facebook ? But I don't know what that means. So are we on Facebook? Yes. Are we currently on Facebook? Yes. Do we have a Facebook page? Yes. Do I like Mark Zuckerberg? No. But anyway, so let's get to it. We're going to be talking about Russia, and we're going to be talking about the Russian Navy off 60 miles to 90 miles off the U.S. coast, which is probably concerning for a lot of people here because we have an older demographic as well as a 37 to 52 is predominantly our viewing audience. But we've got an older demographic as well. And those are the people who, 55 plus, who remember remnants of the Cuban Missile Crisis or had their parents talk about it, or a little bit older and went through it themselves. And, a lot of people confuse the Cuban Missile Crisis with, the posthumous Cold War from the Cuban Missile Crisis. There were segments of the Cold War that were different. And the Cold War started not as an arms race, but a Cold War started with influence and expansion of Russia after post-World War II, and Russia trying to influence and take back parts of Russia that they had lost during the Bolshevik Revolution, and wanted to bring back one Russia yet again. And during that time, it certainly was. And now you saw the splits and the branching of Russia turning into the Russian Federation, changing of the flag from the hammer and sickle and the communist red to the red, white, and blue, and instituting a democracy. And you saw this with Boris Yeltsin and the relationship of kind of making Russia that uncle you're ashamed of and bringing them back into the fold, but didn't necessarily work. In fact, Russia was a failed experiment, and went back to certainly not the old days of the USSR and the CCP, but definitely from an aggression standpoint, a conflict standpoint, and using, instead of a focus on the government of expansion and global economy influence, to one of undermining elections, undermining other larger superpowers through intelligence means and nefarious means, and having more influence like the old days of the Politburo and the KGB. That is where Russia became. So when we look at this and everyone gets freaked out, I want everyone to chill, okay? Because there's a lot of hype going on. And I'm going to show you some of it. And I'm going to show you not what to believe, because that's certainly not my goal. My goal is to get you to not be terrified of what is happening right now. So I want to show you some of the things you're seeing that immediately might set alarm bells off. And hey, Libby, if we're going to have the cat talk all night, we're gonna have to shoot her.
Yeah.
So people are seeing this video. I'm switching the audio. Now, this is a vertical delivery system from a horizontal platform, which would be a sub. And the depth of that sub is probably 50 feet. It can launch those from vertical tubes at various depths, ranging from this is a Soviet vehicle, Soviet boat, so I can tell you whatever. So they can launch that from anywhere from 150, 175 feet to actually still need to be submerged, because the way that the system works is it is propelled vertically as under pressure. And once that capsule of that rocket achieves breaking sea level, will shed its encasing, ignite, and fire. And ultimately, you need to be a certain depth in the water for that to be successful. So a lot of people ask, well, can they just launch it directly from the hull of the ship vertically, not submerged? And I can't answer that question. And the reason why is because there's technology that Russia has that we have, and there's certain things that I can and can't say. But I can tell you most assuredly the depth of a Russian boat and what at least we know it can and can't do. When we look at this, it used to be 50 feet was maximum depth for a lot of these launches. That is no longer the case. In fact, they can get even deeper. And really there isn't much of a use of getting much deeper unless you are going to be in an extremely tight area and tight corners, and your mission is not a first strike weapon, but you plan to complete your mission and then get back into home port next fill and get the F out of there. Being a little bit deeper in that situation would make it a little more difficult. But let me explain. This is like sending up a signal flare. It is traceable for quite the time. You're leaving a trail of smoke and extremely bright light. And if even in the daytime you can see this, and it's literally like a rainbow. You're going to see right where that's at. So you're going to want to bugger and get the hell out of there. And being that a lot of these a lot of these Russian boats, top speed is about 20 knots for most of them. Submerged. I can't go into any more specifics, whether they push that reactor to a harder level or not, but that's general unclassed speed. You're going to want to bugger out fairly quickly. So a 50-foot depth is not necessarily going to give you what you want. 150 feet is a lot more palatable, I'm sure, to that boat commander, or the boat captain, is because he's going to want to be at 150 feet, launch his birds, and then get the hell out of there. So just so you understand, this video, people are saying, well, they're testing this right now off the Florida coast. This is a video this video is from 2018. I can tell because it's not the same missile set that they're currently carrying. But let's go ahead and watch this anyway. Now, did you see that? That's what I just described to you. You saw the canister come up, and then it has a brief stall from propulsion going from a shot of propulsion from compressed air through a channel of a sub and a tube, vertical tube, and then breaking the surface. And once you have breaking surface tension, you will see that rocket fire off. Now, this is a non-canister based rocket system, and they used to be obviously all canister driven. And this is how I know this rocket and the other rocket are two different rockets. But you get the point. Here's the rest. So you're seeing multiple independent warheads and missiles being launched from this. As far as the totality of launches that these subs can do, people always ask that question: can they be nuclear tipped? And the answer is yes. They most certainly can. In this submarine that's there, I don't care about the surface fleet. The surface fleet is immaterial to this conversation. The surface fleet won't last 2 minutes with the U.S. Navy, and so I only care about the sub, because the Kazan sub is a highly effective top 5 submarine in the world. Now, that's not saying much, considering that the United States owns 1 and 2. And if you look at the old Akula classes or the old Boomer subs from Russia, they were always one of the best. Well, those are obsolete now. Those old Akulas are not what they once were. But the Kazan is a fairly recent deployment, I believe it was 2021, was her commission, and she had surface tests and deep dive tests for about a year, and she's been on, as far as excuse me, I can't say we know. I've got to be very careful what I say. As far as I know, she has been on 4 to 6 missions over that period of time that are outside of Russian-controlled waters. But the Kazan sub is a highly state-of-the-art sub, and it's not. It can wreak havoc on our fleet. It has the ability to interrupt maritime operations with a level of lethality, and it can hit naval forces in some cases. A lot of people think that we're just going to go ahead and, launch the old E2 and get an P3 Orion out there and drop ourselves a sub or a torpedo, or we're going to use one of our fast attack boats to go into. That's not necessarily the way it works. Now, am I saying that this submarine is lethal to a point that if we want to hunt and kill it, that we can't? No, we would absolutely hunt and kill this sub. The point is can it deliver its payload before we do? And the answer is it depends. Does that make sense? Okay. So watch the rest of this and take a look. I mean, terrifying. It's terrifying. So you have to ask yourself the question, now, the profile of this vessel this is probably one of the prettiest boats I've ever seen in my life. It is absolutely gorgeous. We'll break it down and I'll show you some videos of it and what it does. This is just to give you an idea. This is
Боевая тревога.
Looks nothing like Hunt for Red October.
Боевой курс 80.
Глубина 45, крен 0, дифферент 0. Лодка держит глубину.
Like I said, it's like a signal flare. Hey, bomb here. So this video, people are saying they're doing this off Florida, and this is a video that the Russian media released, and this is not accurate. This is a video, like I said, that was done prior 2020, and needless to say, this is one of the fear videos that are going around. This is most assuredly from either Vechnya or Russian news, of course, but this is a propaganda video for them to throw around. Everything's accurate, 100%. The thing is well, we'll get to that in a second. Let's get to another one. This is the next video, and I will tell you that video is not accurate. Nobody's launching volleys of I got to be careful. Nobody's firing anything that is going supersonic or going into the troposphere or reaching apogee and then coming back down. Nobody's doing that. And those rocket systems are certainly an alarm. And if they were going off, the United States would send a fast and destructive response to that area very quickly. They are hitting flotillas. They're doing target training. They're using on their gunships. They are not launching guided cruise missiles or anything like that off Florida. That is, if you want to provoke a war, that's how you do that. Okay, this is simply a war game. Okay.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is their sub more advanced than ours, or
No.
just as advanced?
No, it is not as advanced as ours. Is it just as advanced? Listen, when you're talking about the top 5 subs in the world, you have to understand that having boats and submarines is not the easiest thing in the world. The Kilo SS submarine went into Iraq right after Shield and Storm, and Russia sold a lot of their subs to a lot of their old diesel subs and non-nuke subs to Iraq, and we sunk every single one of them, and we put them at the bottom of the Persian Gulf. However, you're talking a handful of countries that have the ability and capability to run a sub effectively. So when you say it's top 5, well, if there's only 10 countries, that means that they're 50% worse than everybody else or 50% better, right? So is this one of the best subs in the world? Sure. Who has the best subs in the world? The United States. And it can run some very specific independent missions effectively, but so could the old boomers, and so could a lot of the old fast attack ships from fast attack boats from the Russian Navy. There's nothing that this Kazan can do that others can't that actually hurt the United States. As far as naval warfare, that's one thing, but I'm talking about physically hitting national targets inside the United States. There's nothing that this can do that others can't. There are other vessels that can launch hypersonic missiles. There's other ICBM, vertical launch systems, and weapon systems that can do the job just as effectively. And once it leaves that boat, really, it's the quality of the missile or the projectile or warhead that's going to do the damage. Now, a hypersonic missile, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's impossible to hit." Well, I want to talk about that tonight. So we will. We'll talk about that because I want people to relax. Just because something goes Mach 9, Mach 10, well, there's missiles that go Mach 20 too. There's intercontinental ballistic missiles that hit the outer atmosphere of and the troposphere of space and the stratosphere that reach Mach 20 in flight. So fast is fast. Now, a surface missile that is going to relatively maintain a low altitude, moving at those speeds, yeah, that's pretty rare, right? You're not going to see that. But understand this, if they decide to full launch into the United States, they got 7 minutes anyway. So it's not like whether it gets there in 3 minutes or 7 minutes, you're still fucked either way. So it's not the speed and delivery system. It's that they made the decision to attack the United States for a full global scale global thermonuclear war. That's what you should be worried about, not the speed of a missile. Because there are plenty of systems that can also, because the thing about a missile is that when it's using it as defense, as an integrated air defense system, the speed of the missile is not as important as accuracy, okay? So here's an example. Would you rather use as a singular weapon a ballista or a crossbow? Well, the answer to that is it depends what you're shooting at. Okay, so would you rather have a recurved longbow or a crossbow? And a lot of people in older times will tell you that the crossbow wasn't necessarily inaccurate. It's like a shotgun, great at close range with a huge thunderous bolt force. But a longbow was much deadlier from range, a faster moving arrow, and a hell of a lot more accurate. So my point is that when you're thinking about integrated air defense systems, maybe a crossbow is a better choice when that missile has to anticipate interception. It doesn't need to move at Mach 10. It only needs to move fast enough to intercept the target from a trajectory standpoint. Does everyone understand? So that defense system will predict where that hypersonic missile will be and then simply launch at the appropriate time in order to intercept. So it doesn't have to have Mach 10 speed to catch it. It has to have angle, priority, and accurate targeting systems. So that's where the Patriot system comes in, and it has the capabilities beyond everyone's understanding here. What we had with Scud missiles back in Desert Shield, Desert Storm is nothing compared to where the Patriot system is now, where the Patriot probably was 23 to 27% successful based upon the rockets coming in. At some points, it was 9% successful. You're going to see that the Patriot system, including with Iron Dome technology and other integrated air defense systems that have moved up with computer technology and innovation, are demonstrating 92 to 94% effectiveness. Now, when the nuclear weapon, does that matter? Yeah, because that 6% to 8%, you're fucked. But the point is during a nuclear conflict, the amount of missiles that fail, that don't have redundancy, are ultimately going to decide who wins and who loses. So here's an example. You launch, 150 birds on each side, and Russia, because of, unfortunately, its missile attack and defense system is deteriorated based on age. If they launch 150 birds and 20 of them land, can we survive? Sure. And if we launch 150 missiles and we have 142 hit, can Russia survive? No. So in that case, although we would lose 25% of the population, and then secondary deaths would probably another 10 to 15%, we could still move away from the table and somehow continue our form of government and our way of life very differently than we would before that. So what we need to consider and understand is, why would Russia want to do this, knowing that Russia, if the United States does not obliterate Russia off the face of the earth, everyone else will? Okay, so if Russia does an early strike against the United States, if China, Russia, South Africa, Iran, and North Korea decide to all join forces, and only 2 of those have the capability to really rain fire, and they decide to hit the United States, and they somehow negotiate a successful first strike, the rest of the world is going to destroy those people. China, Russia, everybody else. England will fire off. Every single major country in NATO will fire. I mean, it'll just literally be a nuclear holocaust. So what we need to understand is why. Why? Amber says, do we get to pick the 25%? Yes, it's going to be New York and California. When Russia launches, New York and California will be the only states hit. So we'll be just fine. No, I'm teasing. That's horrible. No, don't hit DC. That means I'll never have a show again because I'll be dead. Here's the other video. Watch this. This says breaking U.S. Navy deploys. Folks, stop listening to people who don't know what the shit they're talking about. Stop it. Okay. And if you feel that that's me, don't listen to me either. But don't listen to these yahoos. These people are idiots. I'll tell you, Liv, you watch this and you tell me what you think this is. Breaking. U.S. Navy deploys in Miami due to Russian warships. First of all, you got Kings Bay, Georgia. You got Pensacola, Florida. You don't need to fucking deploy the military in Florida. They're already there in droves. Florida is predominantly heavy in naval superiority because of Cuba and because of the Cuban Missile Crisis. So give me a break. Give me a break. Breaking. U.S. Navy deploys in Miami. Dude, it's not going to be. The U.S. Navy is not going to deploy where one of the first strikes will be. If Russia wants to do maximum damage to the United States with the least amount of resistance, Florida is going to have to be where their ground invasion starts if they're going to move around Cuba. So you're going to want to go ahead and obliterate that. The only problem with that is every single person's going to need a mop suit and radiation levels of Chernobyl in order to do that. Nuclear strikes are not designed for insertion. They are used to pull people back from any hostilities that they're perpetuating or perceived hostilities from that rival nation. It's not designed to clear the way to go ahead and take the United States, because the last thing you want to do is, before you eat a cinnamon roll, is go ahead and pee all over it. The same thing is in this case. Before you take Shangri-La, the last thing you want to do is light it on fire. Okay? So they don't want Hades. Okay? They don't want Pompeii. They want Valhalla. They want Shangri-La. And the only way you get that is by bombing conventionally and then using ground forces, taking out the Navy, taking out command and control, suppressing the Air Force, eliminating their bombers, and then getting to work on the ground game. And by the way, there is a military or combined military on the planet that can invade the United States of America. So everyone relax. Okay? A-10 Thunderbolt. Why? Russia has tanks in Cuba? It's for ground support, dude. Oh, okay.
Music. Oh my goodness.
An EC-130? Okay. Well, I could see an EC-130 gunship, but why? F-35. 2 Blackhawks on the other one. I'll just tell you what they are from 5 miles away. B-2 stealth bomber. Folks, I'm really good at my job. I haven't lost a step.
This music's cracking me up.
So tell me which type of Blackhawks those are. Those SH or UH? Anybody? Here's the thing. Liv, what do you think that's from?
I have absolutely no idea.
Come on. Where do you think that's from? If that wasn't Juneteenth 12th, what do you think that is? Glenn, are you Olivia? Is your name Olivia, Glenn? I don't think it is. Shit. Don't read.
I'm not reading. I'm looking at the video.
It's an air show.
Oh.
So somebody took a video of an air show to create hype and fear. Okay? Here's another one. So I want you to look at that. And I want you guys to tell me what you think. At that video, anybody have any thoughts? Take your time. No rush. Liv, do you have any thoughts on that video?
On the submarine coming in?
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't look like U.S. I'm going to
It's not U.S., but where are they supposed to be? What inlet is that?
I have no
Is
idea.
that a Kazan? Let's look at the film quality. So you're looking at a maximum range of about 350 yards from the top of that lighthouse. That lighthouse has American influence. It's East Coast. It's painted over sandstone, granite. You've got darker waters on this inlet, so it's a man-made channel. Is this Cuba?
Doesn't look like Cuba.
It's not Cuba. It's not Florida.
My first thought was like, it almost looks somewhere European, England, Ireland, something like that. That was my first thought, but I highly doubt it is.
Take a look at the roof. See the flat roof?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Flat roof. That's indicative of Spanish culture. Take a look at take a look at the greenery. You've been to Ventura. You've been to Santa Barbara. You've been to the beaches.
Yeah.
What is that? You know what type of plant that is?
No, because I'm not really seeing any green.
Yeah. So right here, right over my shoulder, right here.
Okay.
See this?
Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
No, because it's real blurry.
It's a form of cactus.
Okay. 'Cause
And-
it just looks like a big wall of dark color.
But it's not a needled cactus. It's like an aloe vera is. It's a succulent, I guess is what they're called. Any other ideas about where that is?
Somebody said Alcatraz.
Somebody said Alcatraz. Well, let's go take a look at Alcatraz. Can we do that? By the way, is that a Kazan submarine? Let's find out. Let's do that first. Let's go ahead and find out if that is a Kazan submarine. That should be the first thing we do. So let's take a look at it. So the Kazan has a very distinct profile, especially when you're looking at it from a forward position. And this is probably going to give us the best look at it. Maybe. Stupid ads. Come on. Assholes. Open image in new tab. Oh, come on. Here we go. So if you want to take a look at this, first of all, there's some unique identifiers about this sub that's different than most. The profile, the front forward profile is ridiculous. It's got a severe drop on the front of the boat. So the forward portion of the boat. Aft is very similar, has a low grade, about a 22-degree angle going down, slope where the screws are. And then this, you can see, has a much more severe angle and a wider, fatter profile. It's very futuristic in its build. And it looks sleek. I mean, it is one of the best looking boats that I've ever seen. It's sexy as hell. You can take a look right here. Okay. So now that we've seen that, let's go back to this video on Twitter and figure out if that is the same ship that we just saw. 1 second.
Looks similar.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to put them up side by side. Okay, there it is. I want you to look at that. And now take a look at that. Is that the same vessel?
It sure looks like it.
Sure looks like the same vessel. Guess what? It is. It is the same. It's the exact same. Look at the masts. It is the same vessel. If you don't know what you're talking about. Of course, it's the same vessel if you don't know what you're talking about. But you can also look that the front of the forward part of the ship has had massive repairs on the hull. You can see the reappropriation of material and radar absorbent material on the outside of the hull has been worked. You can also look at the front nose, and the downward slope is not the same. And although the mast positions are similar and the dorsal of the actual boat is similar, it's not the same boat. So when people sit here and go, oh my God, this is in Florida right now. Well, first of all, it's not Florida. And it's not Cuba. So when people say this, they're trying to scare you. So they're trying to make you feel. Now, first of all, a boat from 2021 is not going to go to dry dock in 3 years. It's just not going to happen, especially a sub. Those subs go under for, depends. Nuclear-based submarines go under, which are delivery systems. The big boomers, those go underwater for 6 months at a time. So it's an older sub, an older video. And also you can look at the quality of the video. The quality of the video is horrible. So I don't think it's an old high 8, but it is certainly not a high quality 4K or 1080p style camera. It's very possible digital tape or something to that effect, but that is not a current Russian vessel. So when people do this, you just need to calm down. This is Graham Allen, and I like Graham Allen, but for him to do this again and share information that isn't accurate, it frustrates me. So when we look at this, let me ask you a question. Now, you asked where the location was. Let's go ahead and find out where that is. Because we haven't established that yet. Okay, you ready? Who said Alcatraz? Hello?
Quite a few people. I don't remember.
Okay.
It was quite a while ago.
Let's see if I can get that picture that I just saw right here. Oh, come on. Really? Let's see if I can get a good picture. And you guys can tell me what you think it is. So there was a couple of things I said. I said Spanish influence, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I can get a good angle on this. Okay. So what do we think? Does that look like Alcatraz?
That is Alcatraz, right?
This is Alcatraz.
Okay.
So if we go back and we look at this video, does that look like Alcatraz to everybody?
Can you put them up side by side?
Oh, son of a bitch, Liv. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. So I can't open that much bigger, unfortunately, because it'll expand. But if I do that, is that Alcatraz? It's not Alcatraz.
Yeah, I
folks.
was like, I don't see the mountains in the background.
It's not Alcatraz, and you can tell by the water, number one. You can tell by the coastline. You can look at the profile of the rock. It's more flat. It's no way. That inlet is built up. So it's not Alcatraz. And the reason why is you can take a look at the lighthouse and the mast of the lighthouse. This is a 2-ring lighthouse, and this is a 1-ring lighthouse. There's 1 ring here. I know you can't see that. You're going to have to trust me, folks. Here. 1-ring lighthouse. Mirrors here. 360 degree. Okay. This right here, flat roof, is definitely Spanish influence. And there's no building of that. And first of all, the trees and the structure and the land and the rock, everything's different. Everything's different. So the question is, what port is that? Is there any other guesses? Anybody have a guess? And some people might be like, dude, why are we doing this? Why don't you just get to the good part? This is the good part. This allows you to go ahead and use your brain and figure out things. Somewhere off the coast of Spain. That's not a bad guess at all. San Diego? No. It's not. It's not U.S. mainland.
Let's say that don't look like San Diego at all.
So what I want you guys to do is do some homework. And whoever comes up with where that's at, I'll give you a free t-shirt. Now, you're going to have to do some research. You're going to have to do some research. That's all I'm going to tell you. But if you can figure out where it's at, I'll give you a free t-shirt. Okay? Oh, and what we should do, we'll look at the port inside Cuba. Now, I'm going to give you guys a hint. Does that mean Glenn was incorrect? What did Glenn say? Caribbean, Malta. San Juan, Puerto Rico, San Diego, Spain. Nope. Has anyone guessed it yet? Gibraltar. Nope.
San Juan.
San Juan.
Coast
El
of
Moro,
Spain.
San Juan Harbor. No. Puerto Rico, Matt. Nope. None of those. Okay. Do you guys give up? Portugal. That's a good guess. But so Spain, because the architecture would be very similar. So that's a very good guess. But it's not right.
Someone said Mexico.
It's not Mexico. Couple more guesses, and then I'm going to go ahead and just tell you where it's at. And you guys are going to laugh.
It's definitely on planet Earth.
That's correct. Planet Earth is correct so far.
Someone said somewhere off of Greece, Monaco.
No, the rock isn't white enough for Greece. Just think of the Acropolis. Gitmo? Well, you're the closest so far, but I can't give it to you. Azores, no. Monaco. Folks, it's
Italy?
It's Cuba. It's a Cuba inlet. So that makes it extremely believable for the people who've ever pulled into Cuba. To anyone who's ever done any type of reconnaissance, anyone who's done any type of time on that landmass knows it's Cuba. So it's convincing from that, but it's an old video of Cuba. Glenn said, I said Cuba way earlier. Well, hold on a second. Didn't we just say, where did you say it? You know what? Let's go see, because we can figure this out. Glenn, Cuba. See, Glenn, this is what's great when you have I've got all these wonderful toys. I did a search for all 465 comments for Glenn and Cuba. No search results found. Yeah, you're so you may have said it in your head. You certainly didn't say it on chat. If you want to show me where it's at and take a screenshot. Yeah. Rhonda said Cuba. Hold on. Rhonda did not say Cuba. You guys, you cheating sons of guns. Here, look.
Ramon said he said Havana.
Rhonda, Cuba. Ramon said Havana. That's not quite the same, but no, you didn't. Oh, he spells Ramon weird, doesn't he? Here, Havana. Donald said Havana. It might be Havana. I said Havana. Russian warships enter Havana Harbor under watch of U.S. destroyers. So we know that, Thomas, because we know that. Warships. That's a sub. The sub is 90 miles off the coast. That is not the same vessel. Havana, Donald Thompson said. I'll give him a shirt. He said it first. He said it before.
Rhonda just found her comment and replied to it. She put "look at me" underneath it so you could see it.
Okay, hold on. Did she say Cuba?
Let me look when it was posted.
Tommy Cawthorn said Cuba. Oh, Glenn did say Cuba. Cuba. There we go. Okay, first person to say Cuba was Tommy Cawthon. Cawthon. He was the first person to say Cuba. We're gonna have to find out who was the first person to say Havana. So I'm gonna do this. Rhonda, you're good. You said it. See, it didn't have your name and it. So let me see. Glenn has said Cuba. I'm just gonna go back. Here we go. Okay, I'm looking right now. Glenn first said that's Puerto Rico. So you're out of the race. You said Puerto Rico at first. So you're out of here. This isn't a fucking guessing game. So Glenn says Puerto Rico first. This is exciting. I'm so excited. 1990 sub, Donald says. Broken Russian sub. Not Gitmo Bay. Cuba, first person, Tommy Cawthon. Thomas said not Gitmo. It's Tommy. Tommy got it right. Tommy, you get a free shirt. Contact Olivia. Now we really need donations. I'm losing money on this show. Are you kidding me? God, you guys are horrible. So Tommy was the first, but I will admit there were several people, including Glenn, who guessed every frickin' inlet across the world. Rhonda did say Cuba, but first was Tommy. Everyone gets a shirt. No, I can't afford that shit. It's the Port of Havana. That's correct. But we had to who said it first. So when you say Havana, that's not the Port of Havana. There's a very big difference. It's like saying Vladivostok or Severomorsk or Petropavlovsk, but not saying the Polyarny Inlet. So we have to be specific. Where is this area? So when you have an old video that shows a sub coming in, you immediately are like, oh yeah, well that looks really accurate and it's terrifying and it's scary. And of course it is, but it's not real. Now, is there a sub outside of Cuba? Yeah, there certainly is. Are there military warships from Russia? Sure. My point is when you create 3 videos, one of of an air show in Florida, how the military's scrambling to go to war, and then you show missile system being launched vertically from a assumed Russian submarine, and then you go ahead and you show a video of the aforementioned sub. What you're trying to convey and what's the truth are two different things. Does that make sense? You're trying to make lines of delineation to the Kazan submarine, and that the U.S. military is going apeshit over this. Now, the U.S. military is concerned, and they're going to watch it. But folks, this has been going on since the 50s, 60s. All right, I got to read it. Everyone happy? Tell them, Matt, great show again. Stay safe. Thanks, Sue. Everyone got... I have 3 shirts. Give mine to a newbie. Tommy got the shirt fair and square. F you, he says. It's not my fault you didn't say it first. Tommy, you suck. Tommy, reach out.
Somebody wants to know if Tommy was in the Navy.
I don't know if he was in the Navy. You have to ask him. He could be a Marine too, because a Marine would know the answer to that. Marine, I'm surprised that Thomas Austin didn't get it. Folks, there's actual footage of the United States Navy right now hunting that sub. We've gotten so desperate. We've lost our entire fleet. We're bringing out destroyers and frigates from WW2. We're now using British Spitfires because we've lost all of our jets. I don't know what we're going to do, folks. Old B-17s. We're toast. Diesel. This is our footage. B-25 Mitchell. We're going to use that too. It's a Messerschmitt. We've brought in the Germans. We're all going to die. Play warthunder.com. Anyway. So here's the deal. Tommy, go ahead and reach out and we'll get you a shirt. PayPal donations, folks. 100% free here to watch the show, but we survive on donations. We need some help. Help us out. Thank you. We appreciate it. Real simple. Go to linktapgo.com/the DUM Show. It's that easy. Yes, of course it's a game, Darla. I'm just teasing. Hypersonic missile, folks. We're going to talk about it. But more importantly, I'm going to talk to you about the Kazan submarine. So here's basically what's happened. United States Navy right now. Anything that I'm about to tell you is 100% non-classified and open source based information. I will be very careful with what I say, and I won't go into anything that would even scratch the surface of something that I can't talk about publicly.
Hey, Tommy said he wants to put the shirt back into donations, use it for donations instead.
How do I do that?
I don't know.
I want to donate it back to you, Matt, but to get my own shirt, I don't understand.
I think he wants us, instead of using our money for the shirt to get him a shirt, he wants us to...
No, I'm not doing that, Tommy. I want to get you a shirt. If you don't want a shirt, want to give it to somebody else, I most certainly will do that. And we'll open up another question and we'll do it the right way. So you let me know. Listen, we're doing just fine. We appreciate what people can do and we ask because we have to. It's a part of the job. We understand that. We're big enough now. It's gotten too big. In order to pay for the show, we need donations. That's great. But I can afford to get you a shirt. Okay. And if you don't want the shirt, we'll have another one and we can put it back in there. So this is what we do know. The U.S. Navy dispatched ships and aircraft to track the Russian warships that sailed 25 miles from the South Florida coast. And it was en route to Cuba. Now, they didn't have to go ahead and fly or sail so close to Florida. Why do you think they went 25 miles just right up against something that would provoke an interception? Why do you think Russia would do that, Liv?
To mess with us?
To mess with us. That's correct. That's it. Darla says that's it for me. What's it for you? What?
I have no idea.
Oh, did we piss Darla off again?
No,
what did I do now?
So.
We have Russian China subs off Vancouver Island, Washington State, every hour of every day. Nothing to see here, folks. That is correct. Mel is 100% correct. This is standard operating procedure. The only reason they're doing this now is because they're doing it loud. And they are provoking. This video I'm showing you. This is everything you can possibly want to know about the Kazan. Okay? And then I'm going to walk you through it too. So the Kremlin stated that they were just trying to give the U.S. a taste of its own medicine. That's what they stated. And you have to admit, we're going to go back to the Cuban Missile Crisis here, but that is exactly what Russia is doing. They are sending a message that this is what it feels like. You guys have aircraft carriers in the Black Sea. You have aircraft carriers outside of the North Atlantic. You guys are doing flyovers against our borders. You're doing intelligence missions from high altitude and satellite tasking over our country, just like we're doing. The only difference is you guys are upset about it. And I have to admit, that it's quite the double standard. Cuba was in response to Turkey and the Jupiter missiles. And this goes back to the 13 days of the Cuban Missile Crisis. And it's something I know because I love Kennedy. At least I love learning. I think Kennedy was a shit president. I just love learning about Kennedy. And I happen to know quite a bit about the Cuban Missile Crisis. So we're going to talk about that tonight and make some connections. There's an article over on the site if you guys want to go take a look at that at thedumnews.com. Defense Ministry stated that the flotilla that they have using for targeties for drills involving the use of high precision weapons. That's code for supersonic missiles. They're not using supersonic missiles. Those things are millions upon millions of dollars a piece. They're not using hypersonic. They are going to use high precision weapons when they say that. They're going to use hard guns. They're going to do laser targeting. They're going to do computer simulated interception and target acquisition. They're not going to be fucking live firing hypersonic missiles off the coast of Florida. This is not going to happen. You're not going to see it, folks. Relax. That's a declaration of war, especially in international waters. It's just not going to happen. And if it does, hold on to your ass. Okay. The Kazan has guided weapons on board, of course. I've already demonstrated that. And I'm going to give you a little briefing on the Kazan submarine. Olivia, try not to fall asleep, okay?
Okay.
Thank you for the donation. God, I was wondering. I was like, geez, man, tonight was rough. No, I'm kidding. I appreciate you. We got 2. And that's why we love you guys. Seriously. Because there's nothing like a little guilt to go with your cornflakes. I'm just teasing. All right. So let me put these in real quick. Liv, I need to teach you how to put these in.
I don't have access to any of your shit.
I'll
I don't want access to any of your shit. I have 7 windows up, 8.
Yeah, but
I don't need any more. I'm
this
good.
could help me out.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
This could help you out.
This could help. Why do I care how you feel? This is hard enough as it is.
Yeah.
The talent should just, be focused on being talented. Just saying. Okay. Violet. This should be coming through here. This is acting weird. Let's see. You didn't see that come through, did you?
No. I saw the amount change, but I didn't see it pop on screen.
There it is. Violet donated
Violet.
$10.80. Thank you, Violet. You are the best. You are super duper cool. Ramon, my man, my brother from another mother, my misunderstood brother. We got in an argument a long time ago, but we worked it out. Decided to go ahead and help us out tonight. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. You will be receiving nothing but our praise and our love and a continued Don't Unfriend Me show to play on a nightly basis along the weeknights. There you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ramon.
All right, so here it is. So they had a successful test firing of the Caliber cruise missile on April 4th, 2024. Caliber is not spelled Calibur. It's Kalibr. Russian language likes to drop consonants. Location of that area and that successful test was in the Barents Sea, and it was the Chisha test site, which is a flotilla-based and island-based targeting to test the missile. It was confirmed by the Zvezda Russian TV channel. They had footage of it. It was all over, broadcasted all over the place. The United States knew about it probably before the Kremlin did. The submarine basic overview of the Kazan is its designation is the K561. And it's an M-class sub. And it was commissioned in April 2021, surprisingly enough, on my birthday. So I'm always excited to know that the Kazan and I were born on the same day. So happy birthday, Kazan sub. It's a nuclear prop sub. OK650K, pressurized water reactor, to be specific. Backup system in case nuke power goes down is diesel generators and batteries, just like every other sub on the planet. However, these submarines are extremely effective with their battery backup systems nowadays, where it used to be a sub would survive on life support for 30 minutes to an hour, depending upon power consumption, depending upon what it was trying to do, whether it was surface level or not while it was driving. These batteries that are on board these ships can go for an indeterminate amount of time, days in some cases, depending upon the mission and what it's trying to achieve. The length of the thing is a giant motherfucker. It's 139 meters. Pardon my French. I should be professional in this briefing. 139 meters. Liv, how far is 139 meters? Just do 3 times 14 and make this easy.
You're asking me to do math. I have no idea.
420 feet.
Thank you.
420 feet, folks. That's ridiculous. That's incredible. It's almost 1/10 of a mile. 5280 is a mile. So it's 0.8 tenths of a mile. It's ridiculous. The draft of it is 10 meters, 30 feet. Surface displacement is 13,800 tons of water. Let me say that again. 13,800 tons of displacement on the surface. That means submerged, it's going to be less or more, Liv. If it displaces 13,800 with half of its hull and ballast, it's going to be more. How much more? Do you think it's going to be double, triple, single? What do you think?
Double?
No, not even close.
What?
14,700. Essentially about 10% of its overall displacement is accumulated once it's underwater. The reason why is because most of a submarine, people only see the top and they think it's just a pill. That's not the way it works. Submarines have more of its bottom portion submerged and only a slight portion of its top when it is riding on surface. Speed, do you remember how fast it is?
No.
Do you think it goes faster underwater or on the surface?
Under.
Wow, good answer. Give me a guess. How fast do you think it goes surface?
On the surface?
On the surface.
Is this in miles per hour or knots? Because I don't have a clue what.
Just answer the damn question.
Maybe 20 miles an hour?
No, we don't do miles an hour. It's knots.
See, I don't know what knots are.
It's 20 knots, surface.
Well, I said 20, so that should
You're right.
count for something.
You're right. 20 knots. You get a shirt. So it's coming. It'll be in the mail tomorrow. It is. It's your tank top.
Well, that is true, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
how
tank
fast
top.
do you think it goes underwater?
40.
28. That is the unclassified version. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's pretty standard for all subs. That's about the standard answer that most people will give you. Okay. So it's pretty fast. Can do its job. How far do you think it can go under the water?
Before it has to surface?
No. How far what's its maximum depth, would you guess?
Um,
Just give me a guess. Just guess.
50 meters, maybe more.
That's 150 feet?
Yeah.
No.
No.
600 meters.
Oh.
1,800 feet.
Okay.
Oh, that's a long way. How many crew members? How many people do you think you can fit aboard that vessel?
150.
64.
You could tell I was not in the military.
That's all right. It's fine. Operational range, it's unlimited. It's nuclear power. So it can go anywhere in the world, and it can pretty much be anywhere in the world within 3 to 5 days, depending upon where you're at.
Can you explain knots? What is
in
it?
a second. That's not important right now. We'll get to that. Yes, I'll explain knots. Limited by food and maintenance. Someone else can explain it in chat. Someone tell her the overall equation of knots. Real quick, please. Unlimited nuclear power. And the only thing that slows that sub down is food and maintenance reasons. That's really it. Okay? Why are we doing this? Because I want you to understand what this thing is. By the way, 1 knot, just times 1 knot times 1.5. 0.78. So 1 mile an hour is 1.15078 knots. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think
so. Type in 20 knots times 1.15, and you'll find out how much it is miles an hour.
23.
There you go. Pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah, Scotty says 1.14. Close enough, Scott. 1.15078. And it rounds up to 1.51 if you just want to bring it to the closest decimal. Excuse me, 1.151. So it's 1.15 if you're going to round down. Remember we talked about the vertical launch system? It has 8 silos. 8 silos. Are they replenishable? Can they put new missiles in? Or do they have what they have in and that's it? They can shoot 8 and move on.
I think they could probably put more in.
Nope, they can get 8. That's it. Okay. Can't reload it like a torpedo tube. It's a vertical. It's a completely different process. Torpedo tubes, they have 10 of them. I cannot tell you the exact locations of those because we don't have an exact location of those. But can they shoot torpedoes from all different sides, or are they front launching torpedoes? Can they fire a torpedo aft?
I'm going to say yes.
Mel, can a Russian sub fire a torpedo aft? Or are they all front projection torpedoes? Watch this. Missile types has the P-800 Onyx, the Caliber cruise missile, which we've talked about with the hypersonic missile. The Zircon hypersonic cruise missile as well, the 3M22. And the torpedoes are the Type 53 torps, the RP-2K, and then the Caliber cruise, which we also talked about, which is a PL version, which is a lower altitude, shorter range version. Here's some of the things that you need to know about it. Is the M class is a major advancement in Russian undersea prowess. It absolutely has global maritime influence, which means that this thing can hawk shipping lanes all day long. It'll make like a German U-boat look like child's play. And it can independently engage multiple targets simultaneously because it has multiple simultaneous target acquisition. So it can launch subs, scratch that. They can launch torpedoes at a multifaceted level simultaneously at different targets. It is a very advanced sub. So if it wants to hit 3 or 4 ships at a time, it can. It can hit up to 10 targets with no redundancy, but still 10 targets until they have to reload and flood tubes. It can absolutely disrupt the U.S. Navy's submarine warfare dominance. It can absolutely upset and degrade the U.S. military. The missile test systems and the parameters of trajectory and everything else is that of all standard nuclear delivery systems. It's got advanced sonar, enhanced detection. It's got AI predictive detection. And the engagement technology is top of and state of the art. The EWS, which is the electronic warfare systems, are also state of the art. Its warfare capabilities from an ECM standpoint, electronic countermeasures, is state of the art, which means not only does it affect the shadow and the imprint of its vessel, but it can also interrupt and impact other radio communications, satellite distribution, satellite interception, standard radio comms, cell phone towers, all these type of things. It has ECM capabilities. It's also a stealthy boat. If you look at the front part of it, you can see the difference now. It looks very much like an Akula class submarine. It looks very low profile in the water. Looks like a shark. And that's what Akula means in Russian, is shark. Liv, fact check me on that.
Okay.
See if I'm right. The stealth mechanisms for it are extremely impactful. It's a quiet sub. It's not ultra quiet. It's not rigged ultra quiet. It's fast. It's quick moving. And it's an attack sub. But it has a multiple mission of attack and defense. It's actively engaged in training and combat operations all over. This isn't the first time it's been off the coast of the United States.
Akula. Yep.
Akula's shark?
Yep.
Yeah. Old memory. Extended range and reach. The Caliber PL missile allows launches from a safe distance, minimizing enemy countermeasures. Has global implications and can strike and rain multiple warheads on long-range targets. The sub right now is surfaced 66 miles off the Florida coast. Last night was its last known location. And it's really exceptionally rare. There haven't been subs this close to the U.S. territories for a while, except if you want to consider Alaska, which they are there all the time. They're off the coast of Bangor in Washington. That is one of our largest inlets and one of our largest naval bases for subs, Bangor, Washington. They are all over Bangor. Violet says, listen, I'm a politician, which means I'm a cheat and a liar. And then when I'm not kissing babies, I'm stealing their lollipops. But it also means I keep my options open. Oh, Violet, you didn't include that last line, but I knew it. Ho, ho, ho. Mm-hmm. I know. It's called Hunt for Red October. I can even name the actor. I can even name the scene it was in. I can even tell you probably what minute the movie was in. Hunt for Red October. Buy me that shirt. Matt, would engaging 10 different targets pinpoint its location, such as a counter battery and field artillery? Not really when it comes to aquatics, because you've got to be listening actively where that is. It's not necessarily something that you're going to pick up from a concussion standpoint or using satellite imagery or reverse trajectory engineering, which is finding where a launch is based upon overall speed, impact, distance, sound, all of that other stuff. You're going to find that sub, if it fires once, it's very much like, have you ever heard of 3 on a match? Most people who are in Nam have heard that, Paul. And I don't think you were in Vietnam. I don't think you're old enough. But 3 on a match is you light your cigarette in the foxhole and you cover it and you give it to the next guy. Third guy is going to take a sniper round to the head. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So you never do 3 on a match, 2 on a match. So the whole point is if you have a singular vessel like a sub launch and hit 10 independent targets at the same time, that's actually beneficial. You can track one torpedo as easily as 10. In fact, there would probably be more confusion with 10 than not, especially if they were all different ranges, which with vessels are going to be because they're going to want clearance. They're not going to want to be riding side by side, nut to butt. That's not good when you have naval vessels, because the only thing really that's going to take down a naval vessel is fire in another boat, or obviously fire from another boat. Get it? So no, 10 independent launches is not going to give you any of a better to finding out where it's at. Because here's the thing: when a sub launches its torpedoes, the second that it does that, it's going to dive and it's going to take a hard ass turn to port or starboard and get the fuck out of there. It's not going to sit around and watch that thing hit. Acoustics will tell us what happens. And nowadays, subs will use satellite tasking in conjunction with their own optics and their own ability with sound profiles, acoustics, sonar. But they will also use satellite imagery to go ahead and look for an explosion as well. They'll have drones and assistance. Subs use a wide variety of safety measures now that they did not have 25 years ago.
Are they in international waters? That was a question from Wimkin.
If they're 25 miles off of our coast, they are in international water. But now, they're in Cuba. So those aren't international waters. But yeah, and all of them will be in international water. In fact, international water is really the only safe water to be in. Now, you can go in U.S. waters. You can go 5 miles off the coast if you really want to fucking do that. But just ask what happened with the Taiwanese Straits incident in China and what happened with Japan. You don't want to do that. So you stay in international waters. But 25 miles off the coast is pushing it. You're pushing it. Listen, if we send a carrier group 25 miles off the coast of China, we're going to be intercepted. I can't even tell you the story that I want to tell you. But there was a time that we went off course and we went into different waters than we were allowed to go into, and we were intercepted. Multiple aircraft and multiple vessels. And I can tell you that it was in the South Pacific. That's the only thing I can really tell you. So it happens. And there are times where you have to do something in that area. There could be a training exercise where a marked torpedo gets in the wrong spot. You can have a helo go down. You can have a SOS distress. You can have a shipping vessel that strays off course. You have to go there and help to repair or refuel. I mean, there's many reasons. Or you're just trying to fuck with them. We do that too. Okay. 1 nautical mile per hour equals 1 knot. So we can't hear a torpedo traveling through the water. You can hear a torpedo traveling through the water. I don't understand. What do you mean? Of course you can hear it. You can hear its screws, and you can hear its cavitation. You can hear its pitch profile, all those things. My point is launching 10 at once, does it make it easier to backtrack to that sub? No, as much as one would be. Now, if you're going to do multiple volleys from multiple different areas, then you're going to have, it's going to give you more data to pinpoint where that sub is. But where that sub is after that torpedo is fired, it's not going to be there anymore. It's not like artillery. Artillery, you just can't go pick up and take long-range artillery and just move it. You know, and a lot of artillery that can reach those maximum ranges that wouldn't be picked up by an A-10 or a Cobra or an Apache is going to be counter strikes and hits with either a laser guided bomb or GBU based deployment or counter artillery. So what I'm saying, and maybe I don't understand your question. I think what your question was is if you fire artillery like an artillery, can you kind of re-inverse engineer where the shot was from and go ahead and send volleys back? Not with a sub. Because the acquisition of a torpedo is very different than acquisition of artillery. Artillery is pray and spray. Torpedo is precision. And not only do you have to be in the right position to fire, in a position to hit a submarine, and to acquire that target, you have to have a signal so that torpedo can ultimately activate and hunt and kill its target. That's my point.
What are the range of those missiles?
Which missiles?
That would be the question on Rumble. They didn't specify.
Would it be? Well, we can go into that. We're about to go into that. Sorry, I'm having fun. Hold that question. I'm going to go into the missile profiles here in a second. So let's go into real quick. The Bay of Pigs. There was a U.S. reconnaissance over Cuba. And these were standard F-104 Starlifters, I believe. U.S. Air Force. And the F-104s were high reconnaissance, low reconnaissance type planes. Low reconnaissance type, fast attack, fast moving, with extremely high frame photo imagery analysis where it could zoom over Cuba and take photos at an incredible rate. And I believe they were F-104s. In fact, I almost guarantee, if my memory serves, that they were F-104 Starlifters. Let me find out. Because it may not be important to you, but I got to keep the old noodle sharp. Starfighter. Yeah. Yep, that's what they were. This is what they look like. The F-104 and F-105. F-105D Thunder Chief. And also, you have these different versions. The F-100, the F-102, and the F-103, F-104, and F-105. All different versions of this plane. Very similar. Kevin says, question, 977.
That's the person's name on Rumble. It was the question I already asked you.
Okay. Yeah. I'll get to that in just one second, okay? So most people know this. So there was reconnaissance footage in 1962. October 16th, Kennedy was briefed by this, and he was briefed by McNamara and the Joint Chiefs. And there was an imminent threat because what had happened previously is we put Jupiter missiles into Turkey. And this pissed off the Russians to no end. Now, imagine if somebody put, nuclear missiles and missile batteries in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, Montreal, Toronto, whatever. What would we do? Well, that's what they did. Is they got pissed. So they started bringing the components of missile systems and portable, fueled missile delivery systems that could literally light up Washington, D.C. in a blink. And this created after the tensions of Bay of Pigs and the assassination, the multiple attempts of the assassination of Fidel Castro, which we tried to kill Castro 50 times and failed every single time. U.S. responded with a naval blockade. And a naval blockade is different than a quarantine or putting sanctions. A blockade is nothing gets in, nothing gets out. And if you encroach upon that blockade, you are violating a lawful state of cease and desist that will result in military action against any aggressors. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So this blockade took place, and the Soviet ships were approaching Cuba. And for a better part of 7 days, steaming towards Cuba, which we're going to resupply with fuel, armaments, wiring, electronics, and the technicians who were going to service these missiles to Cuba. On October 27th, a reconnaissance plane was shot down over Cuba, killing the pilot. Does anybody know what type of plane was shot down in Cuba? Tell me. It pushed the superpowers to the brink of war. And Kennedy's advisors were debating back and forth between military action and diplomatic solutions. McNamara and the Joint Chiefs wanted to go in. They wanted to hit Cuba. They wanted to floor Cuba. They wanted to destroy it. Russian President Brezhnev. You mean Khrushchev. Right, Donald? Khrushchev. Not Brezhnev. Khrushchev. Cuban Missile Crisis. U-2 spy plane. Skunk Works. High altitude. One of the greatest things ever. Amazing. Amazing. My grandfather worked on the U-2 spy plane. He was one of the engineers and designers of the U-2 along with the B-52 Stratofortress. It was the one before the SR-71 Blackbird. SR-71 was before everything, if you want to be accurate. That's a whole nother conversation, but the SR-71 was designed before the U-2. SR-71 was like 51. This thing was designed. The SR-71 was based upon German technology and German rockets. And although wasn't in productive real-time flight, was being aeronautically designed and tested. The turbines were being designed and tested. So the SR-71 and U-2 spy plane, it's interesting. So U-2... 1955.
Oh, year my mom was born.
Prototype flew in 1955. Actually flew. SR-71 was 1964. Was the first flight. Later we found out, as far as design, schematics, aerodynamic testing, propulsion, everything else was designed 51, right around the same time as the U-2. Yeah. And the only reason I know that information is from my grandfather. Yeah. U-2 is an amazing, amazing vehicle. SR-71 is my favorite plane ever to exist as far as high altitude, you know, unbelievably incredible, aerodynamically just amazing plane. My favorite plane from, you know, just like sheer badassedness, the flying gas can brick, is the A-10 Warthog. As far as the best sounding plane ever, now you can't go ahead and do the 30 millimeter Vulcan cannon on the A-10 because that's not the plane itself. That's just a badass cannon. That's amazing. Is the F-4 Phantom. If anyone has not heard an F-4 Phantom in afterburner mode, holy fuck. That thing, those twin engines on those F4s, oh! I've never heard anything so loud in my life. I've heard just about everything go supersonic. I've heard an SR-71 go supersonic. I've heard an F-14, F-16, A-4 Skyhawk. An F-1 Saab. there's not much. There's nothing compared to an F4 fan. F4 Wild Weasel, F4 fan, the loudest afterburner ever. Ever. There's nothing close. So Khrushchev was the president, by the way. Just so we're clear. That was the president. Kyon says Kazan hypersonic can hit one of our biggest sub bases in the U.S. The Kazan. Okay, this is what I want to talk about. The Kazan is the vessel, is the ship. The Caliber is what you're talking about, is the hypersonic missile. And yes, but there are multiple delivery systems that can hit U.S. bases with a sub. It's not like the hypersonic missile is something that's so advanced that it just gives a I love you. Good night, bud. Gives an advantage to Russia. It just gets there quicker. And either way, it's the decision of the delivery of that missile that's going to be the issue, not that it actually does the damage or how fast it gets there. The fact that they fired upon a U.S. base, that's going to set off World War III, not that it's a hypersonic missile. Hypersonic missiles just deliver faster. And the overall yield of destruction because of its speed is what's really what people don't understand is a hypersonic missile, its payload is obviously devastating based upon the size of its warhead. But if you're talking about just to deliver, to disable without nuclear means, if a hypersonic missile hits an aircraft carrier, it most assuredly, in my estimation, and I'm not a physicist and I can't give you these numbers, but just on my gut of watching, tens of thousands of explosive ordnance go off in different various forms against different areas with satellite imagery, I will tell you that if a hypersonic missile hits the broadside of an aircraft carrier, it's probably going to sink the aircraft carrier. I'm just letting you know. Just the sheer amount of force. Yeah. I watched a U-2 take off from Moffett Field in 1964. I was 6 years old. Yeah, I used to watch them over Vandenberg Air Force Base. My dad was in Lancaster and Palmdale, so we would go to Nevada all the time, and we would, get access because of my grandfather. I have a piece of the original space shuttle. Well, I used to. I don't have it anymore. But I had one of the tiles, the ceramic tiles that were on the outside. They're very rare. My grandfather gave me one.
Have you had a chance to ride in an Osprey? Osprey, I don't know.
Yes, I have. Hypersonic missiles are a myth? No, they're not. No, they're not. Not at all. Yeah, not even remotely a myth. I was talking about another hypersonic missiles it carries. Yeah, but the Kazan is the sub. Kazan is named after the city in Russia, like a lot of the newer model subs. I'm confused, Kyon. I watched an A-10 land after receiving surface-to-air damage. Pilot wrote a book about the incident. KC Hogg. Yeah, I think I've heard about that. Dude, A-10s always get hit. You can bring most aircraft down with just about anything, but A-10, you better have a howitzer. Kyon, maybe we're just not talking the same language. I was talking about the Kazan sub and the Caliber hypersonic missile. Maybe we're not on the same page. So the thing is that Khrushchev, Russian president, had back communication with Robert Kennedy, and Robert Kennedy knew somebody, essentially one of the largest go-to spy masters inside of the United States, and used him to get a message to the Russian ambassador through back channel, ultimately to Khrushchev. Okay. The Zircon, right, one of the missile in Kazan. Okay. I'm talking about the Kazan submarine, so that's what's in Cuba right now. And essentially what Kennedy wanted to do is Kennedy was soft on communism. He didn't want to invade. He didn't want a war with Russia. So what he said was, you'll go ahead and you will disarm and stop the blockade. You'll disarm your missiles in Cuba. And then 6 months, we will have a complete stand down of Jupiter missiles in Turkey. And made a quid pro quo, something that got Donald Trump impeached. And that completely diffused everything. But the press got a hold of it and demonstrated that Kennedy was soft on communism. And in fact, this is probably one of the reasons it got him killed, is that if he was soft on Cuba, what was he going to do with Vietnam and Laos and Indochina, which was, the French just got their asses fucking kicked. And if Kennedy wasn't going to go 90 miles off the coast of Florida, what makes anyone think he was going to go halfway around the world to Vietnam? And this is probably what got him killed. Vietnam was $620 billion war for a war system that had relatively remained stagnant, because Korea was big, but it wasn't a moneymaker. A lot of the technology was older. So to justify a budget and to stop communism, the United States war machine had to continue its spending, and the only way to do that is through war. Sorry that it's technical, folks. We're not trying to lose you. So essentially, the Bay of Pigs was a big, giant game of political chess. And the same thing is happening here. Russia's going to push their boundaries. You're going to see that Northern Hemisphere, you're going to see bear foxtrots go over. You're going to hear about that. You're going to see war games take place. This is when the waters tend to warm up. This is when Russia will do its summer games, and we will do the same. We will be off the coast of Australia. We're going to run one of the largest global war games every year in world history, and we bring in Russia, we bring in Australia, Japan, England, India, and all surrounding countries and areas. So it's not like we don't do the same thing. I just want to make everyone relax. SLBM subs have been on continuous deterrence patrols in a position to strike the United States for the last 60 years. And same for the U.S. We hawk Petropavlovsk, Severomorsk, Vladivostok, the Polyhonor Inlet. We track every boomer and every attack sub that leaves. We class every surface level ship. But also there's French and British and Chinese nuclear submarines as well, folks. This isn't just Russia. Yes, Britain has submarines in our waters, international waters. So do the French. So do the Chinese. This isn't the Cuban Missile Crisis. This is not even close to 1962. We are not on the brink of world war, thermonuclear war. We certainly are in an unstable area of existence right now. But if people think that what's happening over in the Middle East is as bad as the Gulf War, bad as Afghanistan, bad as Vietnam, it's not even remotely close. We don't even have U.S. troops on the ground. So this is not 1962. Russia is doing what Russia's doing. And here's the thing. In intelligence, the old saying is, if you don't know what Russia's doing, be worried. And if you know what's Russian doing, then you got them right where you want them. Because a predictable enemy is an enemy that you can ultimately defeat. An unpredictable enemy creates too many variants that are obviously you can't plan for all those contingencies. We know where they are. We know what they're doing. And they know we know. And that's why we know, is to just send us a message and say, hey, we're Russia. We ain't fucking around. We have some weapon systems that can mess with the United States. We can't beat you in a fair war. But we can first strike capability on your ass, and we can take out a couple aircraft carriers, and don't you fucking forget it. They think they can. 881-pound payload on the Zircon, a.k.a. Zircon, close to 1K bomb. Could damage hefty there. Yeah. So basically, Putin is just flexing his muscles. Yeah, this is all saber rattling. That's all this is. This is just to send a message. What about Rocket Man subs? He is probably at Putin's ankles or not so far away. Rocket Man can't deliver his payload. So, yeah, North Korea doesn't have nuclear-capable submarines. They don't have nuclear-capable weaponry. And if they did, they would have used them. That's it, folks. So I want people to relax. I want you to understand is that the United States Navy is single-handedly the strongest Navy in the world times 10. Every other country could deploy their Navy against us and they would all lose. Yes, we have a weakened military. Yes, we have DEI in our military. But trust me when I say this, there's enough old salt in the Navy that you will throw those pricks overboard the moment a live fire event takes place. And you will just confine those pricks to the quarters. trust me when I say this, there are plenty of people who are amazing at their jobs in the military. Any other questions we got tonight, Liv? Folks, if you have not had a chance, then I'll let Liv answer the question I just asked her after I wrote. Thank you. If you have not had a chance to donate to the show, linktapgo.com/the dumb show. Folks, we are absolutely dependent upon your donations for the show. Facebook cut how much of our revenue, Liv?
90%.
90%. I will tell you this. The highest payout I've ever gotten from Facebook was really good. I think it was $15,000. The check we just got from them was 0.002% of that. Do the math, Liv. 15,000 times 0.02%.
0.02
Yeah.
says 3.
300?
No, it's just 3.
It's not 3.
No, I know how much it is.
Maybe it's 0.2%. Is that the math? Do the 0.2. That sounds about right. Because that'd be 3. No, that'd be 30.
30.
Yeah, give me that number. What do you got?
That was 30 at 0.2.
Right, so that was 30 at 0.2. Okay, so it's point.
So it's like
It's point like
it's like
2.6.
it's like 2.5%.
No, it's not 2.5%. No, it's not. No.
Yeah, because I just did 2% of 15,000. That's
Okay,
300.
Okay, we got $246. So that is where we went at our best to that. So should we cry for me, Argentina? No, don't cry for us. We're going to be fine. But this is why we've moved to a donation model and asked for your help. That's all. So here's the deal, though. If you've got your wife taken care of, husband taken care of, birthdays taken care of, mortgage taken care of, you got your summer vacation planned, okay? All that's done. And you're buying 7 Starbucks a week, ask yourself a question. Maybe you can shed 2 of those and help out the Don't Unfriend Me show. If you can feed an African child for $30 a day, you could feed a white family in the United States and take care of our own for even less. Help us out. Whatever you can do. I'm bad at math sometimes, and I just was horrible. Do me a favor, help us out there, and we would appreciate it. You can go to linktapgo.com/the dumb show. Folks, Wimkin. We are going to be on Wimkin on the 16th on Monday. Charlie Kirk is coming on to talk to Jason Shepard from Wimkin. This is huge. Charlie Kirk has 120 million downloads of his podcast. Now, he is in the top 0.01% of podcasts. That is the truth. And I am in the top 2.5% of podcasts in the world. The difference between Charlie Kirk and I is he is top 10 in the world, and I'm like top 30,000. Not necessarily that good, but I'll take it because there's millions upon millions of podcasts out there. And the fact that we're even in the top 30,000. But here's the thing on Good Pods, we're actually ranked 46 in the world in political podcasts. Ooh, that's cool. Pretty good. I'll take it. That's not bad. And they go ahead and take all of these. Is it the 17th? Holy shit. Hold on, Ames.
Monday is the 17th.
Whatever. 16th, 17th. You guys get the point.
Well,
so I was kidding.
Why is Monday important?
It's my son's birthday.
There you go.
It's my son's birthday. I wouldn't have known that if it wasn't for Charlie.
Are you going to wear
Kirk.
a suit for Charlie?
I won't be talking to Charlie. Here's what's happening is Jason will be interviewing Charlie for the first half or second half of the show, and then he's going to have us on the show. So, but the reason why is that 9 million people are going to see this. So when they see it, they're also going to see the dumb show. So that's why. So I'm probably not going to wear a suit. I'll probably dress up a little bit. I'll probably wear a collared shirt. I may, trim the beard and, do something like that. But I don't know. Happy 17th anniversary, Tommy. Folks, thanks for watching the show. We appreciate it. Listen, I'm excited. This was a very technical show. And for as many people as we had on, that's pretty cool. I'll take that. How did we do over on Wimkin tonight, honey?
Let me look. 18 viewers at one point.
It keeps going up and up.
180 views as of right now.
Well, that's not bad considering it wasn't tagged. I mean, you got to remember 180 views when we have 70 followers. It's going to take a while to grow. So I think after this Charlie Kirk interview, it's It's going to help. So do me a favor. Watch us on Monday the 17th. We would appreciate it. It's the 17th, right, Liv?
Yes.
Okay. When are we on again, Liv?
Tomorrow at 7:00 Eastern.
Correct.
And I'm doing Ethan's graduation carnival in the sun tomorrow, so I may not be on camera, if on at all.
She's going to be on camera.
Probably not.
We're going to make her be on camera. Why dress up? Tim Pool didn't. Don't digress from your brand. Okay. So I won't dress. Here's the thing. Half people are going to tell me to dress up. The other half aren't. Folks, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. Checking the email real quick. Yeah. Sarah, thank you so much for your donation. We appreciate you very, very much.
Thank you, Sarah.
Sarah decided to give us $1.30, and Sarah gives whatever she can. You know, I'll be honest with you. Those mean more to me than just about anything. Now, I'm not going to lie. We've received $1,000 donation, $50. Those are nice. I'm not going to lie. Bummer. Those are great donations. Those are incredible. People are just like amazing. But when somebody sends $1 or $1.30, to me, that means that they're sending the most that they can afford. And that sends a message to me. That's like a person that's sharing, like they're making themselves uncomfortable to share that. To me, that means more than just about anything, because it's an incredible amount of money that will not change my life today, but it absolutely impacts Sarah's life. And for her to donate that is, I think it's the highest compliment one can receive. That means a lot to me, really. Sarah does a great job. Sarah, did you go check the moderators page? And I think she saw it and she's like, I'm not a moderator. Yeah, I know. But Sarah has a title. She does a lot of the marketing side stuff for us. Never asked her to. She just followed us on Spreely, which is a great channel. If you have not had a chance to be a part of that, please go look at Spreely.tv. Watch our show from there. You can watch it on Roku and all of that. Apple, Fire Stick. It's a great platform to watch. And you can also follow us on Wimkin. But the moderators have their own page. And Sarah is promoter. I put her down as promoter. That's good. That's a good title, promoter. So we appreciate it so much. Absolutely appreciate it. All right, folks, listen, God bless. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. We're going to go play some Diablo and have a good night. Thanks for everything you do. We appreciate you. God bless. Have a good one. Say bye, Liv.
Night. Amy Bordeaux said there's a moderators page. She didn't know.
What do you mean, Amy? How do you not know? It's right here. There you are. See? You're right there. See, let's go who our moderators are. Here's Amy Stancomb, Vicky, Lee. There's Mel. And you know what's hilarious is I know her name's not Mel Lowe, but I'm such an idiot. I actually typed it MELLOW and I'm like, Mellow. Oh my God. It's not Mel. It's Mellow, as she's mellow. I didn't know that. So yeah, Mel, you didn't know we have a moderator page? You even got your own logo. Muds, right here, man. It's on the page. And then we got Uncle Stumpy, Amy, Glenn, Jared. There's Sarah. I got to get her picture larger. Kristen and Maureen. There's our moderators. Isn't that cool? Great group of people. They do a thankless job. All right, folks, we'll see you tomorrow. God bless. Have a wonderful night.
Thank y'all.
See ya.
Night, y'all.
Bye.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at the
Wait
DUM
a second. Amy Bardo says, stop. Now my face is redder than Olivia's. Yeah, but it's not going to be redder than her ass later.
Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree.
Ramon, excuse me, sir. Could you blow me where the Pampers is? That was PCU. Jeremy Piven. Swingers is better.
We can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.